Chair now recognizes the gentleman from New York, Mr. Espaillat.
Thank you, Chairman Cleaver. Thank you, Chairman Cleaver, and also my colleague, Congressman Richard Torres. And much has been said about the tragic fires in the Bronx. The Bronx seems to be the borough where, in the past decades, have witnessed and suffered tremendous tragedies with fires. Other neighborhoods of the city also that have a similar housing stock also suffer from tragedy in fires. And the Fire Administration Authorization Act of 1992 required the installation of fire sprinklers in high rises. Obviously, much of the housing stock has been built before that. Probably a lot of the housing stock is currently not meeting those safety standards established by the Fire Administration Authorization Act. I believe very strongly that prevention is driven by inspection and education. So my question to the commissioners that are here are, Commissioner Carrion, how many inspectors does HPD have?
Thank you, Congressman. I don't know if my microphone, I switched it on, I don't know if it's working. Testing.
No, I don't think
you
it
cannot,
is.
yeah. So I certainly want to make sure my answer is on the record here. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, thank you. We are currently budgeted for 429 inspectors, and I think before you arrived, I mentioned that we have approximately 825,000 residential buildings in New York City, and 212,000 or so are multifamily buildings. We currently have 287 inspectors. We have vacancies. We've had a severe attrition. So we're trying to backfill those vacancies. Those are positions that are budgeted, but we need to backfill them.
Thank you. Commissioner Kavanaugh, how many fire inspectors do you have?
So we do inspections two ways. We have fire protection inspectors who work out of headquarters and a few of our district offices. There are approximately 300 of those. Much like HPD, we have suffered, especially under COVID, some attrition and unfortunately the loss of some inspectors, but we are hiring again now. But our field units, our fire field units, also inspect buildings in their administrative units. And so we've done approximately 40,000 of those in 2021 by field units.
Commissioner Vesnikos, how many inspectors do you have?
Housing inspections around the state are generally handled by the local housing agencies.
How many
like
do you
HPD.
have for New York City? Assigned to New York City, yes.
So we have about 50 inspectors that do inspections in our asset management portfolio, but we also have a series of administrators who are responsible for our Section 8 buildings, and they have inspectors that they hire. So I don't have the full number for those. Would really be the inspectors that are covering all the federally, the project-based Section 8 federally subsidized portfolio. They're not centralized state staff. They are contractors that we use. So I can get back to you with that full number.
So it seems to me that given the conditions of the housing stock in the Bronx and in other neighborhoods of the city of New York, the very dilapidated, unsafe conditions of the housing stock where families live, obviously, that we don't have enough fire inspectors. And again, prevention is driven by inspection and education. And so, Mr. Chairman, we must see how we can assist local authorities, but also I think that the local authorities have the responsibility, also the budgetary responsibility, to see how much more they put in their budget to hire additional inspectors. The second issue is education, because there is a direct connection between education and safety, fire safety. I remember speaking to the Commissioner Kavanaugh about this issue. I know that in this building, in the Twin Park building, many of the families were immigrants, And this is a city that's very diverse. People come from different countries. They speak different languages. They have different customs. How diverse, Commissioner Kavanaugh, is the fire safety education initiative program within the city? Is it bilingual, trilingual? Do we connect it to the Russian community in Brighton Beach, to the Chinese community in Flushing, to the Mexican community in El Barrio, to the Dominican community in the Bronx, to the African American community in Harlem and in the Bronx? How do we address the bilingual and culturally competency needs of fire safety? And do we have a reliable program that will educate tenants to take the measures that they need to take to save their families?
So we do have everything you mentioned. We do have bilingual and trilingual fire safety educators. We've also implemented local field units going and doing education themselves, and one reason that that's so significant is the department, as it's diversified, has given first priority to where a firefighter works, to the neighborhood they grew up in. And so what that also means is that in neighborhood schools, if you're getting your local company, you're far more likely to be getting somebody who grew up in that neighborhood, likely speaks the same language as you, maybe comes from a similar cultural or religious background, and we think that's really important. So we are doing all those things. Our website also comes in every language imaginable, so you can download materials in any language you need. But I would say, I think one of the things that has been significant in the wake of this fire and that the Adams administration has done for us is taking down the silos between agencies and trying to engage the community significantly more. As a community organizer myself, I really believe that education is not just about handing out literature in no matter how many languages you have it. It really is about understanding the local community and engaging it from the ground up. And so you're seeing a lot more of that. The connections with clergy following this fire have been very important, and the connections, I think particularly in the local schools where many of these children of these immigrants attend and are bringing back information to their parents.
Mr. Chairman, if I may just conclude, this is a huge undertaking. I cannot guarantee that we have the tools in place to prevent this from occurring again. Just the number of properties across the city and the condition that they're in, the dilapidating, abandoned condition that they're in, requires a robust effort to inspect and to educate. And I think it requires a major investment. So, Mr. Chairman, I would look forward to working with you and Congressman Torres and the committee to see how we assist the city of New York, and particularly the Bronx, the borough of the Bronx, in this endeavor. Thank you.